And I believe we are live. We are live. Is that accurate? We're live. Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. Today's the 26th of May, 2017. How's that? I almost said 2016. And this is going to be a little bit of an issue because I'm using a different server than I usually do. So I have a lot of windows open. So you guys are going to have to bear with me. Can you guys hear us all right? I can hear you digressing in England. Hi, hello, what's up? You are live. Can you hear me? Yes, you are live. Good to go, good to go, good to go. Okay, then. I have tried to get Richard on numerous times, and you are looking at his website right here. It's called 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗱.com, and Richard does some serious, in-depth, bigger picture investigations. Like, I try to put small things together. I try to show you different pieces of the puzzle and how everything's tying in, but Richard does it on an extreme level. Richard, I want to welcome you, brother.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Well, it wasn't easy getting you on, and I got a feeling that's part of the new scheme. They're going to make everything much more difficult. In the old days, it was just click the button, send you a link, and everything was great. Now they want you to download all these different applications, so forth and so on. So we're definitely living in a new technological age, it would seem. But with that out of the way, let me ask you, how did you get into all this conspiracy stuff? Because I've looked at your writing, and you're pretty well accomplished. How did you end up in this ballpark?
Thanks. Well, before I start, huge thank you to you. It's a big privilege to be on your show. I mean, I know you don't have many guests, and to be the first one when you go live again is a big honor. So thank you. And I think I speak for most of many of your viewers, and not the trolls, obviously, but most of them. Want to say thank you for all your hard work. I mean, you do some amazing work, and you also package everything in digestible chunks, 5-10 minute videos, which are easy to watch, and just keep an eye on things. So yeah, you're doing some amazing work, and thanks for that.
Well, I've tried to have you on since last year, but for whatever reason, I mean, I was doing live streams all the time. I had some serious speakers on, and for whatever reason, YouTube decided that I wasn't allowed to live stream anymore, and that went on for 6 months. And I've been trying to get you on since last year, so I just wanted to stick to my word and make sure I got you on. So here you are.
Thanks. Well, so to answer your question, how did I get into this? So I used to work in the city, like a good paying job and everything. Life was set. But then I just started getting, Boston bombing happened, and I started, I knew about 9/11 from a few years ago. And I tried to show work colleagues like something's wrong with Boston bombing. And I kind of got into it again for the first time, because when I was younger, I was aware of 9/11 when I was 13 or 14 in like 2004, 2003. But I never really had time to dig deeper, and I figured it was just about money or control or something. But then circumstances changed, and I had a lot of time in my hands, and I started asking questions. I'm a problem solver, I guess, naturally. I did engineering at university, and I like to solve problems. And for me, I had a lot of time, and I started asking questions and just digging and trying to figure out, why are we seeing what we're seeing on the news, and why are things as they are. So I just started digging, and then eventually, after 3-4 years, I had enough information that I thought I had to try and share this with people, because the people around me, my family and friends, it's hard to explain everything in a coherent way without sounding crazy. I mean, everything is crazy, so it's natural that people will be turned off when you share knowledge with them. So I figured I'd try to package things in a way that's digestible for people. I'm not a video maker, and I could never match the amazing videos that people like yourself, Nicholson, and other people do on YouTube. So I decided to start a website, a blog, and started writing. And it became, at first I was just writing about what topics I thought would lead on one to next. But then it became, I started having a big plan. So I've written about 30 blog posts so far, 29, and I have up to post 50 or so planned out. And it's become kind of like an online book leading like post to post, chapter to chapter. And actually, I'm working with 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗱. He'll be converting my blog into book form once I get a few more chapters or blog posts done. So that's where I'm at.
That's ideal. I know who Zen Garcia is. I'm supposed to have him on. I followed him for a long time before I even started making videos. So you're definitely in good hands.
Yeah.
But the topics that you cover are in depth, and it's great to see somebody like yourself that's gone to university, that studied all this stuff, that's well versed in it, that's tying all this stuff together. I mean, there is literally and seriously an enormous conspiracy happening, and it appears that it's coming to a head. Like, we're actually going to live through the quote unquote great work, is what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, everything's being revealed.
Yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. They're not even hiding it anymore. My theory is, through the predictive programming in the movies and the music and the videos for the last 10, 20, 30 years, they've realized that they can come straight out with it and people aren't even seeing it. Yeah. They're telling everyone they're chemtrailing the skies and people don't seem to care.
Yeah.
They've told everybody that the food, you know, we voted on it. We're not going to label the foods GMO. It's none of your business. Just shut up and eat it. And by the way, all the water isn't only fluoridated. It's pretty much radioactive. But other than that, just shut up and keep paying your taxes, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Plus, we have to go to war. So there's that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much to like search through when you get into these topics, because it's like a never-ending ocean of or never-ending pit. Sorry for the pun, but never-ending pit of information. You can't research everything very quickly. You have to take a lot of time. You know, it took me a couple of years, 2-3 years, to get to the bottom of the rabbit hole and kind of see what's down there, and started to and only after a while do you get to see the bigger picture and how the pieces fit together. Because in the beginning it's just isolated. There's a bunch of a lot of different conspiracies that are going on simultaneously, but you don't know how they fit together. So I tried in my website, in my blog, I try to only focus on information I think is important, like for understanding the bigger picture. Because I could go down into rabbit holes, spend years on 9/11 or years on any topic.
Right.
But I just want to touch on enough information for people to get that there's something going on, get the key points, and then lead it to the next topic. So it becomes like an interwoven web, and much quicker for people to understand what's going on. I wanted to create a source where literally anyone, regardless of their level of understanding in conspiracies, could just pick up and read, and from very quickly get up to speed. And all of that information blew my mind when I was researching it, and I've tried to package it in a way that will be entertaining and mind-blowing for others who are reading it. So I throw in a few memes, a few jokes, just to make it lighthearted.
Right.
Not all negative, but I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fascinating stuff to show people.
Well, I'm looking at your site right now, and this is a favorite topic of mine, and I use this quite often just to prove a point. Do you want to go into the Fibonacci sequence at all, or what you've discovered?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually one of my...
If you're not ready, it's all good. Pick up wherever you want. There's no pressure here, man. Do what you want.
I'm happy to talk about any subject, to be honest. I mean, I actually, I was on the Richie Allen show a couple of weeks ago, and we discussed...
I saw it.
Cymatics in a lot of depth. So that's probably a good show to go listen to. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but it's cymatics is there's a reason why I started with it in my first blog post, because I think it's a very cool subject. It's science as well. So when you see it, it makes sense. Like that's how it is. There's no like conspiracy about it. The only conspiracy is that information hasn't been taught to us in school and it's been suppressed. So I think it's a very easy one for people to think and get into the mindset of thinking, maybe I don't know everything, because we've been taught in school that science and the establishment has everything figured out, and there's nothing left for us to discover because
right.
we know everything. And cymatics is a subject that very quickly puts you on your feet again, and questioning things with a new mindset. And you can prove a lot of things with mathematics, and how sound works, the manipulation of matter, and you start to get an understanding for how nature works, which leads to the next thing, and then you go into Tesla. Why were his inventions suppressed? I cover a lot of things. I link cymatics to nature, to how crop circles work, in my 14th blog post, and then also to Nikola Tesla in my 15th blog post, where I show a bit about energy weapons, connected to 9/11 and HARP and these things. I just touched on it briefly because there's a lot of other sources on the internet like yours. You've covered chemtrails a lot, so I just want to give people a glimpse. Chemtrails, how it fits into the bigger picture with the climate change stuff, climate change hoax, and kind of just show a glimpse of things rather than go on endlessly. Because I realize that it's people like to watch videos as well. So if I can make it snappy reading with some videos and pictures, then people have an easier time processing, because that's the way I work. I can't read like big blocks of text. Fall asleep.
Right.
So
There's a reason behind that. I'm almost 50. I'm 49, and the amount, how do I say this, between the medications, the vaccinations, the fluoridations, and the 5-minute news cycles, they've gotten our attention spans down, that if you can't get it all into a 5, 6, 7, 8-minute video, most people are going to get bored, and that's by design. They've done that to us. It's happened to me. I don't get vaccines. I purify all my water, and I don't take any medications. You know what I mean? But I still have the attention span of a field mouse, because everybody does. It's part of the plan. It's part of what they did, Oh my God, a bus full of children just went over a cliff and got killed, but the Red Sox won. You know what I mean? They've been doing that for 20 years. It's just staggering.
Yeah. Oh, look, a squirrel.
Exactly. Oh, look, a squirrel. After studying the Fibonacci sequence, what was the one thing that you came up with? What's the one thing that you took away from that? What were you? Because I want to see what you say. What is the one thing that you walked away and said, because of the Fibonacci sequence, I now know unequivocally that this happened?
Well, I knew unequivocally that nature was, mathematically designed.
Right.
That's has some bigger connotations in the bigger scheme of things, which I haven't got into the subject of creator or biblical stuff yet in my blog, apart from covering the truth and what's going on with Bohemian Grove and stuff like that, and scientism. But there's a reason I've purposefully until now kind of kept that from a lot of references about that, because I don't want people who are new to these subjects to get put off by any religious.
Right.
And I want to cast a big net. And then, eventually when there's too much information, a lot of information, I can just present things in a very logical way, and just tie things together very, very neatly. So, there's topics, scientism, Satanism, 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗲𝗱, all of these topics, will come into a head, transhumanism as well. All of these topics get pulled in, and that's a few of the topics that I have lined up for future posts, because I have a lot of material that I've drafted out. But I do have the attention span of a field mouse as well when I'm writing blog posts, because I spend a day on 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗲𝗱, or a week on something, and then I want to move on to the next thing very quickly, and it often takes a lot of time to put things together in a very coherent way. So I jump between topics as well while I'm writing, and also there's also an endless amount of false flag attacks that keeps taking my attention away as well.
Well, I think that's probably the point, because when you look at any of these so-called attacks, there was just another one. Apparently, a U.S.-led coalition just took out a bunch of civilians and children in Syria. And when you start looking at any one of these things, it starts falling apart. I think they're just throwing those out there by design to sidetrack people. Yeah. You know what I mean? The thing I like about your work is you're sticking to the meat and potatoes, so to speak.
Yeah.
Everything that I'm looking at on your website applies. There's a reason. There's a pyramid on the back of our money, and you've gone into Egypt. I started out with following Graham Hancock 9-10 years ago, and everything that he followed, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Dr. Robert Schoch, all that stuff. There's a reason. If you look in the back of our money, the most important thing, we go to war over pieces of paper. Apparently, there's a pyramid. These people follow this stuff. There's a reason that this terrorist group that just popped up right after Al Qaeda is called ISIS. There's a reason. There's an Eye of Horus. It all ties in. And it looks like you're getting below the surface a little bit, and you're starting to figure everything out in some fashion. So
apparently, I've been posting a lot about Manchester on Facebook the last few days, because it's probably of all the false flags I've decoded on Facebook. I post a lot of stuff there. This one's just like, you come at it from any angle, and it's just, the numbers, the Masonic symbolism, or what have you. It's just drowning in symbolism. And I actually had a Facebook post removed by Facebook for violating their community standards, or whatever it was I said.
Yeah, Facebook's basically brought my my page to a crawl. According to Facebook, I have absolutely no traffic at all. Nobody comes here at all anymore, when it was quite the opposite not too long ago. Facebook has a good method of censoring people. They'll just put you right under. So
but I'm trying to get around that, because on my website I've started a new section. So I have the main blog, which is in the start menu at the top left, and then I also have a section called News by the Numbers, where month by month I go through the news, the false flags, and decode them. So I'm still catching up with compiling all my old decodes from Facebook from March and April, and May as well. But I've got December, January, and February up, and an introduction to News by the Numbers, which covers March isn't done yet. Still working.
Well, you'd have to have an entire team working with you, because it's so fast and furious. They have picked up the pace faster than we could have possibly imagined. But the other thing I'm noticing is science is coming out with the most ridiculous claims, and people are just buying it. I mean, just for instance, the other day they put out an article saying humanity has accidentally, with all their Wi-Fi signals and so forth, built a force field around the Earth, so we can't be hit by solar CMEs anymore. That's just ridiculous. It's just totally ridiculous. The science numbers, the distances, the planets they're finding, all of these astronomical numbers, no pun intended, are ridiculous if you sit down and look at them, and most people don't think a thing. The scientists got it. We're good to go. No worries. Back to my cell phone.
Yeah, I think the thing I'm seeing more is the so-called scientists, the pseudoscientists, Bill Nye, and these guys. They're becoming more blatant in their promulgation of occult symbolism and occult theme in their presentations. I mean, it's just laughable now. Anyone who's even half awake can look at any presentation that Bill Nye's done in the last month, or what Neil deGrasse Tyson wears, his sun symbolism vests. It's just totally Masonic, and they're doing it on purpose, because there's a reason why in television we've had all this symbolism in movies and everything. And it's because they want things to be out in the open. They want to introduce people to, the pyramid and the 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗱 and the pentagram and everything. They want that to be normalized. And so far in movies, they've fictionalized it, so people don't connect it to being evil anymore. They connect it to just being like, this is whatever. It's been in the movies, so it's okay if we have the Church of whatever Satan in the mainstream. That's fine, because we saw it in the movie. So it's okay. So now that it's out in the open, no one cares. And then there's only these crazy conspiracy theorists who know what's going on, who just sound lunatic like crazy to the people who've been watching movies all their lives and don't question things.
Well, I think, I'm going to put it back to June of 2016 when they did that Gotthard Tunnel ritual. Right there and then, it was like an enormous gala event of epic proportions, where they were basically saying, we are no longer going to stay in the shadows. We are coming out. And right after that occurred, We had things like Pizzagate. We had the Podesta emails. We had transgender just go off the chains. The front page of National Geographic's got National Geographic, for some reason, decided putting a transgender child on the cover was the way to go. Nat Geo used to be about taking pictures of Australia and Africa and stuff, but now they're pushing the agenda because they all are. They're no longer going to take a back seat. They're out. It's out. It's out and it's everywhere. So you're absolutely right. They're showing us in every way they possibly can. And most people still aren't getting it.
Yeah, but they do it from every angle as well. Even, you got the news, you got movies, you've got I mean, even sports. I mean, I go on like a football site or whatever just to check what they're showing people, and they've got transhumanism. Build the best player, and then propaganda about a lot of these video games are selling the idea of that you can be the player,
right?
And that's going to lead into you've covered a lot of stuff, a lot of great videos. On AI and the merger of humans and machine, and these video games are being used to indoctrinate children into wanting to accept. I think it's very cool to merge themselves with augmented reality and virtual reality, so that eventually they'll think, okay, I can be Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, in virtual reality. That'll be like real and it'll be awesome. But all I have to do is hook myself up to this AI system with a chip in my brain or whatever way they're going to do it. And there's a big price to pay for that people don't realize. I mean, there's a really good trailer called Mind Gamers of a movie which shows like exactly what's going to happen, and it's totally out and open. I mean, predictive programming is just like on overdrive now.
Right. It seems to me. I mean, I don't watch television or the movies or anything, but I mean, I get floods of comments and emails showing me certain stuff. So it's to a degree, I do have an idea what's going on. Like, I'm familiar with this, but I'm also familiar with Netflix, and they seem to be pushing the agenda out of nowhere all of a sudden. Movie shows like the Black Mirror, which is referring to the laptop, the cell phones. These are all scrying mirrors. These are what are used in black magic to conjure up a demon, and everybody happens to have one. But the show on HBO, Westworld, I did watch that, and that was disconcerting to say the least. It was absolutely disconcerting. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's just another way that they're coming out.
Yeah. Have you seen there's a great video by Enter the Stars, Casey, on it's called Your TV is a Crystal Ball. Which shows, he goes into phosphorus and how phosphorus is known as as Lucifer. It's the nickname of it because it shines green, I think it is. And the LED screen, which we have, in our phones and laptops and TVs, are all based on this technology. And as you say, it is crimes. I have to say you had a really mind-blowing video recently on the sigils, which are electronic circuit boards. That really that was amazing.
Well, that all came to me like so many things do. It was just out of the blue. I made a mistake while I was doing something, and I ended up having to take apart a relay. Now, just that very morning, someone had sent me a whole list of sigils, and I was looking at them, and I'm like, this sigil to conjure up this particular demon looks exactly like this relay that I'm holding. So I started looking into that area a little more, and it seems that the people that do this conjuring, or whatever you want to call it, they use terminology like do this during an electric storm. This will be a circuit to the other side, so forth and so on. And it didn't really dawn on me, but I mean, I'm still thinking about it, but I think to a degree, every time we use an electronic device, we're basically conjuring a power or a principality. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's uncanny how the inside workings of a relay look exactly like the sigil you would have to draw in order to conjure a demon. It's beyond me. And then when you keep looking at it, you end up finding out that certain sigils and things show up in places like this. CERN is one of them.
Yeah,
Harvard is one of them.
They're really like. I mean, when people start talking about demons, it sounds like it's some like religious agenda, but people have to remember that the science actually backs it up. Like the work by 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗱 is just mind blowing with CERN and AI and D-Wave quantum computing, and electricity is used as a medium, and it makes sense when you think about what this world is. I mean, the shape of it, and what Tesla says about it being a realm, and everything about ether and it being like a like a fuel cell battery is how it works. And it makes sense that the conduit between the spiritual and the physical realm is electronic through the ether. So that kind of I had knowledge in different places, and then that video that you made on the sigils, just like when you put a key into a lock and you have these pins, there's one pin holding up, and then that video just dropped and the key just in my brain, everything just meshed together perfectly.
Well, I got a lot of feedback from that video, and you can tell when I'm making it, I don't exactly know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to say it, and it turns out that it resonated with an awful lot of people. It made sense.
Yeah.
It's really, really odd how certain things just fall into my lap, and I don't even know why. And then something will come along and it all makes sense. So for whatever you call that, that's what I have, and that's exactly why I keep doing this. This isn't making videos like this. I mean, you've probably already encountered this by now. Making videos like this, topics that we cover, they're not friendly. People don't enjoy hearing this. They don't want to hear it, and they're quick to label you. You're crazy. You're this, you're that. And it's the word spreads. People are always whispering, he's a conspiracy, tinfoil hat, blah, 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 so on and so forth. You can tell them that they're being persecuted, and they've been persecuted so much that they actually defend the persecutors now.
Yeah.
We've come full circle.
Yeah. I mean, I try to just be polite and with a smile, because I've had people who, a few people who come on Twitter or Facebook and, they berate me, but, meeting those people with a smile or politely, they get curious, like, what does this guy know? Instead of if you meet them with aggressivity, or go away or something, then they'll never look at your stuff again. So as long as I can get people to approach, check out my blog like once, maybe they'll see something that they find interesting, because they're I've tried to focus on just key things that would capture someone's attention, and also undeniable truths. So I try, every time I make a statement or a sentence, I try to back it up with a picture, or a quote or a fact or an illustration, or just something that'll substantiate what I've said, to make it like airtight. I mean, there's people who've come afterwards and said, yeah, thanks for being polite or patient. I mean, I have no reason to not be patient. I mean, I understand people have, I was brainwashed too, indoctrinated through school,
right,
and engineering degree in university, where I never heard about Tesla, never heard about cymatics and these subjects. So I was down, indoctrinated too, and I understand where people are coming from, because it does sound crazy. There is a lot of crazy stuff going on. So I have a lot of patience with people, even the trolls, because they're deceived to a certain extent as well.
Well, it's not even that, but a great majority of the quote unquote trolls are actually United States military, the Air Force, NASA, Google. It's their job. It's exactly what their job is. They've set up channels just like our own, and most people wouldn't even realize it. And in certain times, some of them have been activated, and it's pretty obvious. They go from making videos to being hate-filled accusers. How's that? I couldn't get that one out. That was too tough. Yeah. But it's a fact. Israel has them. A bunch of corporations have them. Make a video about NASA and watch how many trolls show up. They're the first ones to show up too. So that they're searching for you.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to me that you actually went through. What is your degree in?
Mechanical engineering. And
you still broke away, which means you must be brilliant. Because most people, well, no, seriously, most people get a degree in something, and they have a degree. They worked hard to get it, and they just will not hear anything that goes against what their professors taught them.
Yeah, I mean, so, I approached my degree. I'm very logical, I guess, and I did what I needed to do to pass exams and whatnot. It's just a logical and logical approach. The same approach I had with that, I have with digging down the rabbit hole. And as I've said to a lot of people on Facebook who, who are telling me that I'm crazy for thinking that Manchester is a false flag, I've said I deal in absolute truths. Absolute, show me the evidence. If it's really, really out there, but there's evidence for it, I'll believe you. And I mean, things might seem really unlikely, but if there's evidence for it, it's that's all I ask, to show me evidence. And there's people who say that it wasn't a false flag, and come in emotionally have knee-jerk reactions against me. But I say that show me the evidence. That's all, the proof. And I try to focus on just asking people the rational proofs. Let's approach this objectively. And that usually filters out quite a lot of trolls, because they don't really have a foot to stand on when there's no evidence.
Right. So let me ask you, what did you come away with after investigating pyramids and megaliths? Because they're scattered all over the world. They're in the middle of the woods. They're in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the forest here in the United States. They're all over the place. So they must have been a reason.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I came away with the pyramids, when you see that the Twin Towers and the Freedom Tower are aligned to Orion as well, the Orion constellation,
right?
Orion belt, rather. It's undeniable that there's a connection between ancient societies, wherever you are in the world. I mean, they're using the same technology, so there must be some sort of, wherever they're getting that technology from, it's the same entity or the same thing. And when you study Bohemian Grove and see the owl symbolism, which I covered in posts 5 and 6 on my blog. First, links to the ancients, and then 6 is owls everywhere. And I just show owl symbolism is still prevalent today in movies, in the court system, in Bohemian Grove, and this is the same thing that they were doing thousands of years ago. And I think there's a tendency from due to how we've been raised with science to think that the ancients were primitive idiots. They didn't know anything about nature or anything. But when you actually start to understand how the pyramids were interconnected with ley lines as well, and that they're still being worshipped today by the people who claim are claimed to be illuminated or Freemasons, start to realize that this knowledge hasn't gone away. It's just been suppressed and kept from the public.
Right. It amazes me the layout of the Vatican, the entire thing from an aerial view looks exactly like Solomon's seal, and they have an enormous obelisk sitting right there, and they put a cross on top, like a giant Christmas tree. Like, don't worry about that giant megalith sitting in front of the building. We put a cross on it, so it's all good. We still worship God. Believe us, we're telling you.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. Did you get a chance to check out Trump and his wife and daughter going to meet the Pope, and how they were dressed up in their black veils and the beautiful gifts that he bestowed the Pope with?
Yeah, I saw some funny memes of that. Someone put like, because Trump's wife and his daughter looked like they were going to a funeral.
Right.
And so someone took those two girls from The Shining and photoshopped them in there.
Oh my! It's funny too, because they wore the veils to meet the Pope, but they were in Saudi Arabia and they didn't wear the traditional head covering. So it's a very odd thing. I think there was a lot more going on than meets the eye.
Yeah, I mean,
and a YouTube channel named On Point Preparedness, he covered that pretty well last night.
Mm-hmm. I think I saw a video by him where he was talking about Trump announcing that he's going to unite everyone against extremist terrorism, unite Judaism, and then the Vatican and Islam as well. And he's talking about eradicating extremist terrorism, and meeting these leaders. And in the day before he meets them, there's a big, terrorist attack. It's just too obvious that
right. Yeah, they're not really trying to cover their tracks anymore, because they've realized that there's only a few of us, and we're pretty easy to quiet because they own the medium that we use. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So they just, they'll unsubscribe people from you. They'll censor you on Facebook. They do it all the time. They're pretty good at it. You are on Facebook. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I mean, I was off Facebook for a while, but I went on because Facebook's the best way I can reach people. I mean, I don't have a YouTube channel yet, or I have one that I'm going to kickstart with a video blog. But as yet, I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm planning on doing a video series. So for each one of my blog posts, I'll do like a walkthrough, chat a bit more about the content that I've written, because there's a lot more knowledge that I can share audially than just what's written there.
I see. What a jerk I am. I ask you if you're on Facebook and we're already friends. What a dick. I didn't know, man. I didn't see that. Sorry about that.
I've tagged you loads of times.
Let me just paste that right in the chat real quick. So my bad.
Yeah, no worries.
I get a lot. It's hard to keep track, man. It really is.
I know how you feel. I mean, you have 82,000 subscribers. I mean, I have much less. You know, when I was on the Richie Allen show a couple of weeks ago, I said that I answer every email, and then, you know, the next couple of days I got a flood of emails, and I can just sympathize with people like yourself who, you know, for years and just get mountains and mountains and mountains of emails, because it's tough to keep up.
It's no joke. It's absolutely no joke. Between my 2 email accounts, the messages, and then the comment section, trying to keep up is next to impossible. I'd have to literally sit here all day. And then that one person that you didn't get back to turns into an angry troll. So it's just a nice little vicious cycle, basically. But I found it odd. Yes, I found it very odd that the one particular gift that Donald Trump could possibly give to this handsome young fella was a statue of a lotus flower. I mean, it's the connotations that are tied to it are unbelievable. And like I said, Mike from On Point Preparedness did a great video on it. I watched it last night, and I just put a link in the chat for all those that may be interested. It's a great channel if you're not already subscribed.
Mm-hmm. I did the January version of my News by the Media. I covered a bit about Trump, actually. And his went off on, you know, it was his inauguration, so that's why I covered it. And I covered a bit on Jared Kushner and the 666 building.
I saw that. That was great.
And also the, you know, in Trump's speech, I think you covered it as well on one of your videos. His speech, he covers unlocking the mysteries of time and space, and then eradicating, you know, diseases. I mean, with advancements in technology, I mean, it couldn't be more clear what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, it's I basically point a shotgun at it. Guys like yourself and Mike from On Point Preparedness, you guys are more surgical, so I can see it. I can't break it down quite that well, and I just don't have time to anyways. But it's amazing that they are not veiling it. They're not insinuating. They're just coming right out. You know, the alleged most powerful man on the planet, Donald Trump, meets up with the head of the religious sector, which is the Pope, and hands him a lotus flower called Rise Again. Well, gee, nothing to see here, folks. Anything you could possibly make up, that's just a wacky conspiracy theorist. And these guys are really, really trying to do this. It's amazing. They came right out and said that they're chemtrail, and people still don't believe it.
Yeah, that was the Harvard. Yeah, you did a great job covering that.
He's right here in Massachusetts. I didn't even realize that, but this is just staggering to me. All the evidence you could ever need in the world to prove to somebody that they are indeed chemtrailing, and people still go, yeah, that's just contrails. It's like they're saying it. He's telling you, yeah, well, you're just crazy. I gotta get back to my cell phone. That's all.
Yeah, Red Sox are playing.
Exactly, the Red Sox are playing. So, at any rate, what else you got? Let's talk here. I got lost for a minute. I'm just trying to find the article you wrote on Trump. I can't.
Oh, sorry, that's on January. If you go to news by the numbers, and then on in the January post.
Got it.
Yeah, so I covered a few angles on him. I mean, I compared him. There was a few interesting videos comparing him with. So in the news by numbers there, you go to January. Scroll down.
Yep, I'm on it. It'll take a second to pop up.
All right,
I think it's showing now, right?
I mean, I compared Trump's rise to power is very similar to how Hitler rose to power. I mean, being like the anti-politician essentially, and politicians will always tell you what you want to hear, and people, the vast majority of people can sense that something is wrong with the political establishment. So having someone like Trump come in, who's not a politician really, plays the role perfectly.
Oh, without a doubt. It's amazing how many people fell for this, because he's basically backed up on absolutely everything he was talking about. You know, there was a big, I don't know if you heard this, but there was a big rumor going around. There was a fake tweet that was put out where he said he signed an executive order and stopped chemtrailing cold. And it's quite the opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was talking about everything that we were talking about. He was one of the first ones to bring up the birther. That's a good call. You got the Santa right there too. That's a good one. This guy shows up everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. At any rate, a lot of people fell for this, that Trump was actually going to do anything other than what Obama did, what Bush did. Obama was the exact opposite of Bush, and everyone's like, yeah. And then Obama came in and caused more havoc and destruction than any 3 presidents we've ever seen, and then doubled the national debt again. And then Trump came in, and he's the exact polar opposite of what Obama is. But I think he's in to wrap everything up. You know what I mean? I don't think we've ever had a billionaire as a president before, especially a billionaire that's obviously a reality show star. It's not even hidden.
Yeah, I mean, his connections to Israel as well are too obvious.
Oh, it's staggering.
I mean, it's too obvious. I mean, the way he's there. I mean, if you think about how, in political terms, how the New World Order will be established, to bring in the new, they have to bring down the old. It's order out of chaos. So in order to establish the New World Order, one world government, they have to destroy the current system, which is why we're seeing so much chaos in, riots in Brazil, the impeachment in South Korea, riots everywhere. And, if any country has their social problems and political problems, and Trump is kind of like the cherry on top, who's just gonna bring chaos in by just being, you can go through any of his interviews and you don't really know which side of any argument he is on, because he contradicts himself so much. And it's just like, for anyone who doesn't follow this like year by year, it's just really confusing, and you end up just switching off. But it's done that way on purpose. It's the same way they took over Russia in the in the 90s. It was just all about propaganda on both sides that just makes everyone confused, and then no one knows what's going on, and you have a puppet leader who you think is doing good, but he's not. And that's kind of the same situation with Trump.
Indeed, I was just caught up in that. We have a troll attack happening in the chat room right now. So apparently you're saying something that's worth blocking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if the mods are paying attention, you guys might want to get on this, because that's what the wrenches are for. Just block them. Nicholson 1968's in the chat, and he was just very excited to see you were in there. So.
Oh, thanks a lot. Shout out.
Yeah, we all follow you, man. You do great work, in my opinion.
It's the first time I have a chance on air to thank Nicholson for his work. I mean, I've been following him for a long time, and I borrow a few things in my blog from him, and it's amazing the work he does to present things in such an entertaining manner.
Oh yeah,
inspiring. Because when I started wanting to create my blog, I was comparing it to Nicholson as like the standard, as how you want to present things, and he makes it entertaining, and with music, and it's very cool.
Well, Nick, I learned the same thing from Nicholson. You need to get the information out there. You have to at least make it short and sweet, get right to the point, or make it entertaining. And he does a phenomenal job. I mean, like I tell everybody all the time, I'm just an asshole with a laptop. Nick's got skills.
Yeah.
He can really create, and he's a phenomenal researcher. So it's totally different leagues, but yeah. He's one of the guys. Him, ODD. There's several channels that got me into this. Yeah. Finally, where I just had to start making videos and say something. I think I started like 4 years ago, but
yeah. I mean, we all have like our roles, I guess. It's fun. Yep. It's fun to see how things. Everyone's doing. You're at the front lines. Hitting video after video like as it comes out on the day. And then we got cinematic, Nicholson, Casey Enter the Stars is doing, a lot of the biblical research, very deep truths. And I guess Casey was saying in one of his shows, my blog is kind of like the backup hitter, kind of trying to make sense, pick the pieces of after the the rampage you guys are on with presenting amazing truths. I'm kind of like cherry picking the best bits and trying to piece it together in story form, I guess.
Well, you're not giving yourself enough credit. First of all, you're not backup hitting this. The information you put out is spot on, and with your background, you have credibility. You see what I'm saying? So you're not backup hitting for anybody. So
Well, I
get
meant
rid of that right away. You're right up there, man. Just not enough people know about you, but they will now.
Sorry, I meant to say cleanup hitter.
No, I know what you meant, but that's not the case. You're on the same level here with Graham Hancock. If I had to say, I wouldn't compare you to any other YouTubers. I'd have to say Graham Hancock, because your work is that in depth and you're very intelligible when you write. You know what I mean? And you still put in humor because you have to. Nobody wants to read a scientific paper. They understand that everything is bad. Give them the facts, make them laugh, and if you can, give them an answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a path to follow, one of the two.
Yeah.
And I think you do that really well on your channel, on your website.
Thank you. I mean, the humor is there for me as well, because when I'm writing, you know, it gets quite dense writing.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while, I get to stop and, you know, surf for some memes and have a bit of a laugh for myself. So it's there for my comic relief as well. And yeah, I'm glad people enjoy that touch.
Indeed. I'm still oh my, I'm still watching the chat over here getting hammered. So that's a little badge of honor, because if they're going out of their way to attack the live stream right now, you're apparently telling something that they don't want to be told. So that's a good one.
It's your first live show as well in a while, so I guess they've been lining up their trolls, you know, on their toes for a while.
No, I figured. It's no big deal. It is what it is. You got to ignore them. You can't feed the trolls. I mean, I think about every 5 or 6 months, I freak out for about 6 minutes, and then that's it. But never mention them by name. Don't feed them. It's like touching a pimple. You'll just make it worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right. What else do you got that you want to tell me about before we pull the plug on this one?
All right. So, I mean, we could touch on anything. One thing in my blog that some readers seem to struggle a little bit with is the synchronicity posts, the eighth post, and, you know, the numbers 33 and 13, 69. You know, these numbers that keep popping up in false flags and stuff. And some readers say, like, oh, this seems a bit, you know, everything makes sense except for that bit. But there is a reason why throughout my blog, I try to just leak in numbers, the 33 and the 13 and 69 slowly, so people can see how the numbers are so critical in Freemasonry and in the occult. In the news by numbers, you know, I dedicate that whole section to just picking apart news and celebrity death hoaxes and stuff by the numbers. And, you know, if the numbers can be a bit overwhelming, but I try to present it as logically as I can, and eventually, you know, the synchronicity and the numbers will make perfect sense. You just have to give it some time. So that's just one, I guess, caveat or note to make note of for anyone who's approaching my blog for the first time.
Let me ask you, what's the worst, as far as trying to find out information, what was the hardest subject you've tried to cover so far and just not been able to find anything to back up with what you were trying to prove? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think the New Age deception is kind of tricky to explain. How like Christ consciousness isn't actually, you know, biblical, and that's a New Age concept. Right. And there's not a lot of people who cover it in a very clear way. There's one channel now recently who I noticed, Stephen Bankart's, who ties things, you know, explains things in a very clear way. But I mean, that was a subject that was tricky to figure out. I mean, every topic I just try to do due diligence based on facts. The whole disclosure alien thing took a while to figure out, like the moon landing, and, you know, I mean, I knew that it was fake. I mean, it's obviously the moon landing's fake, a hoax, but why? And I didn't really understand the why until I got to the scientism, understanding nature and, you know, where we live, you know, with the shape of this whole place. And I explained that a bit in my blog as well. A large section actually from post 16 to 24 and 27 is about that. I try to lead in with cymatics. But the blog isn't only about that topic. It leads into bigger subjects, and I've kind of framed it in a way that will lead in and get tied up nicely in the future. But lately, I haven't been able to post any actual blog posts the last couple of months for various reasons. But I've been working on that decode section, getting that up to speed, and I'll be launching a video series hopefully soon. Now that I have a nice functioning laptop.
Nice.
So there's a lot of projects going on.
And Zen Garcia is going to help you with the videos. Is that what you were saying?
Oh, he's going to help me make the blog into a book. So it's already kind of in book format, like chapter by chapter.
That's ideal.
I just need to finish off a few more, 2 or 3 more posts just to wrap it up in that section. I mean, I don't want to make any money from the book. I'd rather just have it cost price, and then people can, I guess, spread it more, or it can be affordable for everyone.
Right.
And just have it as a source where material from Nicholson and Casey and yourself and everyone is just compiled in an offline thing, because I think it's very important to with the tightening of the noose, so to speak, on social media. Eventually, YouTube channels and it's just going to get censored, and having a book or something offline would be quite important to be able to share with people who haven't had the opportunity yet to view all of this material when it was available, or when it is now, but in the future it'll be was, until censorship comes in. So I'm working on all fronts. Yeah.
Wow. If you need any help at all, or you want to put something out in a short video format, just shoot me an email. I can show you how to do that easily. It's no worries whatsoever. Or if you have anything you need me to put out with all the credit to you, that's easy enough too. So
thanks
no
a lot.
problem. There's plenty of people on here that'll be willing to help you, because your website's a great source of information, and you're doing a really good job tying everything together. And you've gone into, I mean, this is just in my opinion, you've gone into all the best, how do I say this? You've gone to all the best topics to actually get real answers. Cymatics, Egypt, everything. You know what I mean? Honestly. Because if anyone's looking for the real answers, they all lie inside this. Egypt, Tesla, cymatics, and symbolism.
Yeah.
As well as the numerology. And like you said, the Manchester thing was loaded with it. I got people from all across the pond sending me emails on that, and I just decided to let go of it. Everyone else is covering it. Have at it.
I have a blog post actually for May, the May decode, which I'm putting together. All my numerical decodes and symbolism and stuff that I've been covering from Manchester is on Facebook, but I'm trying to compile that onto my blog now, because I realized that they're going to start taking it down, or they took one post down. So I'm moving there, and hopefully I'll have a post done in the next couple of days, which covers all that numerical stuff from Manchester.
Hey, let me ask you. Somebody in the comment section just asked me, have you noticed a lot of armed soldiers around where you're living?
To be honest,
we're getting the rumor that there's martial law going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of pictures of train stations and stuff, but I try to avoid central London, the city, and Westminster. I don't tend to go there very often, so I haven't seen anything, to be honest, in my neighborhood. But I mean, it's getting more and more pervasive. I mean, I see more police cars. When I do go to the city, there's always armed guards, the big stations, and I mean, it is more noticeable, for sure.
Yeah, it seems like they overran the UK with people, refugees, we'll call them. It seems like they did that purposefully there in Berlin, Switzerland, and they're trying to do it here, and they're pretty much being successful. It's amazing. They're creating the problems, they're creating the reaction, and they're creating the solution. It's very, very plain to see. The Hegelian dialectic works perfect for them. It has since the day I was born, as far as I know.
Well, there's the communist rules for revolution, which I think one of the points there is to have weak policing. And when you have weak policing, then people will ask, instead of telling the government that they're not doing the job properly, they'll say they're not doing enough. And then the government can be the ones, oh, they're not doing a good job, but they'll be in a position to say, okay, we'll have to roll out stuff, and the people will actually be begging for the police state eventually. So I mean, as you say, it's been done on purpose. I mean, George Soros funding a lot of the refugees or migrants rather. So I mean, yeah, I mean, what you're saying is absolutely spot on. One thing I wanted to say that I forgot to say when we were talking about when you offered to make videos, if anyone wants to copy or borrow or make videos or whatever from anything on my site, please be my guests. I don't want any credit or anything for it. Just go wild. Just wanted to.
Let me just add real quick, because I've already been in this boat. At least leave a link back to the website, because people will start, if you say that, people will start taking your work and just plagiarizing it or twisting it to make you look bad. So just be cautious with that. At least leave
that's the only thing I'd say. Like, don't twist it or don't muddy it. But I mean, my website's there, so yeah. Thanks for that reminder.
You look like one of the princes. The prince, what's the Prince Harry? I forget which one. The one that's not the Antichrist, the good one. I'm just kidding. None of them are good. Sorry about that. The Queen Mum.
No relation.
I know. I hear you. All right, Richard, I have to pull the plug. I got some stuff I need to do, but we will do this again very soon. The links are in the description. This is Richard Kallberg. I finally got him on. It took a really long time and a couple of different search engines to do it, but we did it. And I will have you back anytime you want, brother, at any time. If you need me, just reach out. You know where I'm at.
Thanks very much. And
anything else you want to put out there real quick? Anything you want to put in the chat section?
Oh, I just want to say thanks to everyone who's listening. I mean, it's really humbling to get so much support and actually people who care about, listening to what I have to say. So it's amazing. And thanks very much.
Well,
if anyone has questions and stuff, I mean, get in touch, Twitter, Facebook, my links, my contact details are on the contact page on my website. You can add me on Facebook. I mean, LinkedIn if you really want to. Twitter, everything's there. And
I just put the links in the description, brother, so they're good to go. And I'll put them in the description when the video goes back up anyway.
All right, brilliant.
All right, brother.
And thank you for having me.
I really appreciate your time, man.
My pleasure.
All right. That was Richard Kallberg. His info will be in the description. I just want to say thanks to everybody that joined us, even the trolls, because we can't do it without you. DMX for MTB. Thanks, brother. Bradford Buttrick, Rob S., Mr. Nobody. I do digress. Salted Cedar, Bill Bins, Terry McAvoy, KKR. Sorry, you know who you are. Jesus Freaks, Counter Greek, Krudel, that's funny. 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗍, as always, Nicholson 1968, and Richard Kallberg himself, Jesse James. Thanks, brother. Joseph Burbo, thanks for moderating, man. All right, guys, Richie from Boston, I am out.